The book is a broad brush, large landscape exercise to understand the linkages between innovation and public policy. Essentially, it talks about three broad arguments which are generic in nature but focus is on the Indian reality. The first argument is that a policymaker needs to understand not only the nature of innovation but also the nature of activities which result in innovation. And if the policymaker is not appreciative of these differences, the policies that come up in the public domain are unlikely to be effective. Uh, the policymaker, for example, needs to understand that only R&D and patenting are not the key activities for a firm to be innovative. They take technologies from all sides. And if policy constraints create a situation that policy technologies are not available from outside, there will be a problem. The second argument is that the conceptualization of innovation policy needs to be broad. Instead of focusing narrowly on policies relating to R&D and patenting and things of that kind. The conceptualization that I argue has to take into account all policies that affect choices of firms with respect to innovation and technology. For example, trade policy can affect technology choices. The policies relating to FDI can affect technology choices because it affects the nature of competition a firm faces. So once you understand that a wide variety of policies can affect innovation choices, the complexity of policy making becomes much more high. And therefore, the policymaker has to be cognizant of the fact that policy instruments need to be consistent with each other, because if the policy instruments work at cross purposes, their impact on innovation is not likely to be very high. The third argument that I put forward is that in the current situation, the key focus for the policymaker has to be doing something with respect to enhancing the innovation capability of the Indian firms. And in order to do that, I argue for several policy measures, but largely suggest that four key areas need to be addressed. The first area is that the higher education system has to be restructured so that it becomes more multidisciplinary, and the institutions have more autonomy apart from having more resources. The second policy intervention that I am suggesting is to reduce the cost of capital and cost of infrastructure, including the cost of information and communications technology related infrastructure, because these two elements affect innovation cost dramatically. The third activity that I want the policymakers to focus on is to enhance the entrepreneurial ecosystem of the country. Specifically, I suggest that one needs to do cluster specific incubation activity, enhance partnership between institutions of different disciplines, and also create opportunities where the institutions can come together to develop new technologies and take them to the market. The third thing which I am suggesting is that the policymakers should effectively work towards public-private partnerships to create avenues for startups and other companies to raise resources, and also focus on areas and technologies where market failures are very high. And these kind of public-private partnerships can help us combine strategic capital, development capital, and commercial capital to focus on areas which have a high social impact, but at the same time also increase high-tech capabilities of the Indian economy.